Do you want to know everything about stock investment clubs? Then stick till the end of this video. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you doing today? I'm doing marvelous if you're to ask me. I hope you are doing as great as I am. And if you are, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today I want to talk to you about stock investment club, everything you got to know and more. Stock investment clubs are more than they sound like. So in this video, I'm going to show you what a stock investment club truly is, and you can find out how you can join one. I also talk about how to start and properly operate a stock investment club. Beyond investment profit sharing, a stock investment club is a great place to learn about financial markets, mingle with like-minded individuals, expand your Rolodex of professional contacts, and hone your interpersonal skills and teamwork capabilities. First thing first, how do you join an investment club, a stock investment club? Investment clubs, they are groups that meet regularly to learn about investing, analyze investment options, and in many cases, they buy and sell investments as a unit. Though members certainly welcome profits, the real focus here is to educate and often a fair bit of socializing. So before you can decide of joining or starting an investment club, you have to know something about how they operate. How big are investment clubs? The typical investment clubs has approximately 10 members, and a group of that size is big enough to spread the club's duties around, so the time commitment is not really too much on any single individual, yet small enough to allow all members to actively participate. How often does the club meet? It really depends. They can meet as often as they like, but once a month is typical. So meetings usually last a couple of hours. A typical agenda includes a treasurer's report, a performance review of current holdings, a presentation or one or more new investment opportunities that meet the club's predetermined criteria. They can sometimes have a buy and sell vote, and sometimes an educational component such as a book report. So that's usually a little time for chatting and enjoying one another's company too. And in terms of operation, some clubs buy and sell investments as a group. In others, members can invest independently. So investment clubs that buy and sell together, let's talk about that. So traditional investment clubs buy and sell investments. I'm talking here about stocks, mutual funds, real estates, investment trust, and so on. They do this as a group. So members of clubs that invest in a single portfolio often form a legal partnership or a limited liability company, LLC or ALP in terms of partnership. So any tax liability that is triggered by club activities is passed through to the club's individual members. Clubs that invest together, they usually set an amount for members to contribute to the investment pool each month. And usually it can be less than $100 per month, though the required amount varies from group to group. So you kind of have, back in the days, we had a story about the infamous burst down ladies. This was a group of older women who were touted as having beaten the stock market until someone realized that the numbers had been calculated wrong. In other words, they required an initial $100 contribution and then $25 per month thereafter. So in addition, when we talk about investment clubs that buy and sell together, each member might be required to pay a nominal fee for club and individual dues. Each club sets its own guidelines for when to buy and sell. So that could mean relying, for instance, on a stock's PE, price to earnings ratio, or recommendations from outside experts such as Wall Street analysts, or employing some other approach. It really depends on the club. Let's talk about self-directed investment clubs. So those are clubs that meet regularly to do many things. They usually do many of the same things that traditional clubs do. So I'm talking here about they could learn about investing, they could discuss specific investment opportunities, develop a network with similar interests and goals. But the members here, the members of the self-directed investment clubs, they do not contribute to a single portfolio. So each member invests independently. So the exchange here is more intellectual and social exchanges. So particularly for novices, I'm talking here about the rookies, the club environment can provide the support and structure, not only social and intellectual, they need to get started in investing. So it encourages them to save money in order to make their expected contribution to the joint investment pot at some point. And clubs can make the stock market accessible for those who cannot afford to make a large initial investments. So thousands of investment clubs exist across the United States with billions of dollars in their collective portfolios. So what should you do if you are a candidate for investment club membership? If you are a candidate for investment club membership, you may find actually great benefits to join such a club. That is, if you are interested in investing but cannot seem to get started or cannot stay on track, or you want to invest in the market but don't have enough money to build a diverse portfolio of individual stocks on your own, or you have enough free time to be actively involved, enough time to read publications, research investment options, and attend meetings, which will require 5 hours or more per month. It's a real commitment. Or if you're a club officer, significantly more time. And you might find great benefits in joining an investment club if you enjoy the idea of investing in a social setting, and you will not have a problem seeing your money put into an investment you voted against. So if you're not able to make a long-term commitment, or say you don't have the time to make a meaningful contribution to the group's activities, then membership in an investment club is not right for you. So you got to really think about your financial goals, your resources in terms of money and time, your commitment, your need for exchange with other people, your need for feedback on the investments being voted on. If you are comfortable with that, then yes, definitely you should join an investment club. Now let's talk about finding and choosing an investment club. So before you can join an investment club, you need to find what? You need to find one that is accepting new members, because some of them are kind of closed. They're kind of close to the public. They're private groups. Think of them as the Facebook groups where some are public and some are private. So this can be a bigger challenge than you might expect. So one reason is that the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, rules effectively prohibits clubs from publicly soliciting new members, making them difficult to learn about. So, and another thing you have to remember is that most investment clubs are close-knit groups made up of people with a common connections. So you can have co-workers, members of the same church, synagogue, or mosque, old college friends, or neighbors, for example. So many clubs are not really that open to new members who do not share the same connection. So for you to get into one of them, you got to have someone to kind of put you in, to drag you in, literally. So despite these challenges, though, there are ways to improve your chances of finding a club to join. So you can visit a model club meeting. So there is a website that we have tested. It's a very great resource. It's called the Better Investing website. It's www.betterinvesting.org. So you can learn about what they call model clubs, and those model clubs meet regularly across the country. So the meetings, which are sponsored by local Better Investing chapters, are open to the public, allowing prospective members, for example, to experience a typical club meeting. So at one of those events, you may be able to get information about local clubs while you're there. Another thing you can do is you might meet others who would be interested in starting a club with you. That could be a possibility too, right? You can also post a message. There is another website that's very good. It's called iClub Central. So www.iClub, and if you post a message there, this website gives you a lot of info and tools for investors and investment clubs. You can even search the web. There's a possibility you'll find interesting investment clubs next to you. So do an online search for the term investment clubs in or near your city. And you can also check online directories. Many investment clubs have their own website. So the great thing here is that before you begin your hunt for a club, you got to answer a few questions. And first of all, do I want to meet in person or online? Because some clubs communicate strictly via computer. Do I want to contribute money and invest as a group, or invest on my own? What type of investment do I want to learn about and buy? Many groups focus on a particular type of investments. This could be stocks, mutual funds, bonds, or real estate, for example. Do I have any restrictions regarding the kinds of companies I'm willing to invest in? For example, if you have a problem investing in a company whose practices were not socially responsible or eco-friendly, you should not join a club that doesn't share your philosophy. Right? So the bottom line here is that don't join any club until you have attended at least a couple of meetings and are sure you are compatible. Because if one club is not a fit, keep looking. You don't have to waste your time or waste theirs. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of this edition of the Sweetie Kiwi Show. We're talking about Stock Investment Club and everything you need to know. So how do you start a stock investment club? There are a few things you can do. You have to first find potential members and hold your first club meeting. So you want to search for like-minded people who have the same interest and desire about investing in stocks with you. The good thing is you want to take the extra time up front to find the right mix of people who you believe can come together, organize as a club, and manage a profitable portfolio of stocks. All club members should be aligned on a single stock investing methodology. The philosophy is very important. And please, you want to focus on quality, not necessarily quantity. It's not about having 20 people. If you have 5 people, 10 people, that's good already. You want to email the simple meeting invitation to your prospective club members to get things going. Schedule this initial meetings every 2 weeks to keep the process moving. You want to aim for a total of 4 organizational meetings to get your club up and running. And monthly meetings should be scheduled moving forward, and online meetings are a convenient way to hold meetings too, especially in this COVID-19 era that we're currently in. Some providers of free online meeting applications include Zoom, Skype, or Google Meet. Important though, you want to keep moving forward by using the investment. So if you have, let's say for example, that you have already set up all the agenda, you want to keep moving forward by setting up an agenda and sticking to it. So number 1, find potential members and hold your first club meeting. Number 2, hold meetings with potential members to organize. So the initial club meetings held will be for organizational roles. I'm talking here about legal structure, incorporation, that kind of stuff. During these meetings, the roster of investment club members is established. So the club officers, they are elected, and the club startup activities are administered. Schedule investment club meetings every 2 weeks to keep the process moving, and aim for a total of 4 organizational meetings to get your club up and running. And you got to start thinking about the officers, the role of officers. So officers should consist of a presiding partner, an assistant presiding partner, a recording partner, a financial partner, and an assistant financial partner. So duties of the officer will include things like for the presiding partner, this is the president. So he or she will appoint committees, oversee all club activities, and preside over all club meetings. So just think about the presiding partner as the CEO of the club. And then you have the assistant presiding partner. This is basically the VP. So he or she will assume the duties of the presiding partner when the presiding partner is absent or unable to serve the office. And then you have the recording partner. This is basically the secretary. And this person will keep a record of all the proceedings of business and maintain all correspondence pertaining to the club, including the distribution of or posting of notices of meetings and reports for meetings of the partnership. And then you have the financial partner and the assistant financial partner. This is more the treasurer of the club and the deputy treasurer. And once you do that, once you get the club going, you need to start doing things more I would say more legally here. So you want to form a legal business entity and get organized. So you got to choose whether you want to be an LLC, LP, a C corp, or an S corp. We have covered this topic already in the past, so you might want to double check our videos. You also need an employer identification number, so an EIN for your partnership, tax filing, bank account, and brokerage firm. And filing is kind of quick and easy. You just got to go to the irs.gov and apply for your EIN online using Form SS4. So after forming a legal business entity and getting organized, you want to establish club operating procedures. This is where the assistant presiding partner and the recording partner can work together. So you need to establish the club's day-to-day operating procedures And like the partnership agreement, though, club members should review the operating procedures periodically because you want to ensure that they represent how the club wants to work. I'm talking about the procedures here. You also need to have a structure for when clubs meet. This is kind of important. What I'm trying to tell you here is that you want to lay the foundation of a strong club, and you need to take care of the basics. You need to take care of the four cornerstones, and establishing club procedures is kind of cool. You need to have a structure, and club meetings that are well run and organized consistently lead to superior investment results according to research. So if you like to see for yourself, you can just maybe sit in on a model club meeting held by your local chapter, and all you have to do is just be there and observe. Organization begins with a meeting agenda, so it should be emailed to each member before the meeting, along with an official invitations and the minutes of the previous meeting. So you're trying to remind people what happened the last time. That way, club members, they are able to hit the ground running when the meeting begins. It also ensures that the meeting will be run according to a plan, and this can sort of instill in each member a sense of professionalism analogous to what they find in their job. So the idea here is to model your club after an organization, like a normal organization, a normal company, or a normal nonprofit. The idea is simply because you have the word club doesn't mean that the members should take this lightly. It has to be well organized and well run. And other things you need to do in terms of getting the process moving forward is to open a brokerage account and bank account. So in these steps, you need to determine where you will manage your stock holdings, execute your trades, for example, and whether or not a checking account is needed. So it really depends on the organization of the club, but at a minimum, your club should strive to keep posts associated with your stock investing activities to a minimum in order to maximize your returns, right? So the brokerage company you choose will play a significant role. So depending on your preference, you may want to open a checking account in the club's name to conduct some of the club's financial transactions. So research the various types of banks and choose what's in the best interest of the club. Many banks allow for direct deposit, electronic fund transfer, the EFT, making it convenient and paperless for members. You can draw up your stock investing strategy. This is when you have to start thinking about that. So your club can tap into all the resources on the internet, and you can even search on the internet to have a template for stock investment strategy. So building investment knowledge and experience is the ultimate key to long-term success investing in the stock market, not only for yourself but also for your club. So you have to really just think about that. And once you do that, you want to establish the education program for club members. This is very important to remember that a stock investment club can be anything. And most important thing is it's a place where exchange happens. It's a place where members exchange ideas, suggestions, and research. So the educational component of an investment club is quintessential to the continued learning and building of investment knowledge and experience. So each month or every three months, depends upon the conditions in your area, your club should participate. They should participate in, I would say, in big meetings. Not just, in other words, you want to visit other clubs also to understand what's really happening, to share some best practices. And your club should also dedicate appropriate time to investment education. So you can have a speaker come in. You can read about it. You can even have a book sharing club or a book reading routine where you tell all members to read a book at the beginning of the month, and at the end of the month you guys could just get together and discuss the books, the content of the book, and just sort of have a very nice exchange about what's going on in the stock market, what's really happening in terms of trends, what's happening in terms of geopolitical trends. So think of it as a great place just to exchange knowledge and learn and grow. You also have to think about establishing the club accounting procedures. Remember that you have a presiding officer, but you also have a treasurer and a deputy treasurer. So it's really important because investment club accounting is a critical component of operating a successful stock investment club. So the club accounting system should be done in such a way that you are able to optimize bookkeeping. You are able to optimize record keeping, and that's very important when it comes to taxes. So every club member should have an idea of what's going on. In other words, money in, money out. So when they send every month they send their dues or their contribution to the club, they have to have a monthly statement. You want to get into the habit of sending monthly statements to the club members, and this should be two things: the bank statements, but also the brokerage statements. And that's very important if you want to instill in the members some sense of understanding, some sense of trust and professionalism. That's how you conduct it. Number 10, you want to apply sound principles for making investment decisions. So you want to teach all members. Again, all members should teach each other how to become a successful strategic long-term investor by helping each member become more invested in the process of making their own basic financial decisions. So here we're just talking about not just the stock investment clubs here. In other words, we are not limiting the analytical realm to only the stock market. We're getting out of it. We're getting out and we're expanding the scope here of the analysis. So we are saying all club members should help each other in terms of personal finance subjects, in terms of debt management, all that kind of stuff. So what you want to do here is that you want to lay the foundation for the long-term investment success for your club and its members. But this, for members to continue sending $100 every month or $200 every month for the club's holdings, for the club's investment purposes, for members to keep doing that, they need to be financially sound themselves. They need to keep on their path to financial freedom. So use the club as a platform, as a sphere where information is exchanged, where education is obtained, and where financial empowerment is acquired. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We're also having our conversation here around stock investment clubs, everything you got to know. And if you love the content's clarity and quality so far, please consider subscribing to our channel and turn on the notification bell so we can inform you in real time. And we drop this kind of shows every single day, rain or shine. Please like this content, share, and comment below. Let me now talk about how to properly operate a stock investment club. So you need to set clear expectations for club members. You need to establish an intern program. You need to start making investment decisions as soon as possible. Let me kind of go into the nitty-gritty here. First, setting clear expectations for club members. You are not looking just to fill seats. You want to find members who will work to make the club successful. Again, you want to focus on quality, not quantity. So the best way to identify members is to make sure candidates understand and agree with the club's policies and goals. For example, a stock investment club that is created to build wealth over the long term might not be appropriate for people looking to get rich right away. So you can make the policies and goals more concrete by getting them down on paper. So other documents should include the club's requirement for attendance, participation, and monthly contribution. So also you want to make sure that you have prospective members look over the club's bylaws and partnership agreement and ask questions. Because if potential members are turned off by how official this all seems, you know what? That's fine. That's okay. You're pulling money and making investment decisions, not playing squares during the Super Bowl here, right? So you need to also establish an intern program. So what you're trying to do is you want to have some members go through probationary period, just like you would at work, to ensure the new members are comfortable with the club's roles, responsibilities, and various personalities. You got to have that mix. You got to have that harmony first. So give them 2 or 3 months just to make sure they're comfortable with that. So a membership officer could serve as a liaison with potential club members during this time to answer questions about the partnership agreement, club operations, meeting agenda, investment decisions, and so on. Stock investment club also might want these candidates to fully participate in meetings, including leading an investment discussion. So here the point, folks. The point here is not to make sure the person has a PhD in quantitative finance. No, It's not to ensure expertise because after all, potential members are joining the club to learn about investing. What you're trying to do here, the point here rather, is to gauge their willingness to participate in discussions. And in terms of making investment decisions as soon as possible, it's kind of important because a major stumbling block of investment clubs in their first year is a failure to begin investing. So after they've formed a stock investment club and reached agreement on meeting times, forming a partnership, determining how to make investment decisions and so on, club members often cannot take that first step. But the best way to learn about investing is what? Guess it. To start investing. Right? That's how you learn. So once real money is at work, club members will take their partnership more seriously, put more time into buy and sell decisions, and track the progress of their holdings. So you can learn more about investing by actually doing it. Other things you need to do as soon as the club is formed, you want to conduct an annual audit of your bank account and brokerage account. So this might seem like a mundane task in which club members reconcile the club's accounting records with its brokerage account and bank account statement. And this should be an annual event, even though the statements should be monitored on a monthly basis or at least quarterly basis, so that if there are any accounting errors, then you can fix it. Because if those errors, God forbid, are allowed to fester over the years, correcting them becomes increasingly difficult and more painful. And don't even get me started on the fiscal part of things. When the IRS gets, its nose in the whole operation, it's not good for you guys. So you want to consider this as a routine part of a club's annual or quarterly checkups. You also want to draw up a succession plan for treasurers. So a major reason stock investment clubs break up, according to conversations and research that we have had with former club members, is that the treasurer left the club and nobody was next in line. So clubs should name an assistant treasurer who is fully trained on the club's accounting procedures. Though taking on a treasurer's responsibility might seem like challenging, the advent of online club accounting programs that even automatically synchronize transactions made from selected brokerage accounts has made the job a lot easier. So the beauty of this is that you can even generate tax forms automatically. The thing here is that please do not get into investments with tricky tax consequences. So as I'm talking about the treasurer here, you want to keep this critical member of your investment club happy by having a policy of not investing in equities that require special treatment or possibly delayed tax filings because of their structure. Nothing complicated here. No. Real estate investment trusts, for example, make several types of distribution during the year that might have different tax consequences. So other problem investments for clubs are limited liability companies, limited partnerships, LPs, and master defined partnerships, MLPs. So any security that directly holds a commodity such as gold or silver as its only assets also creates difficulty at tax time. So royalty trusts, which are pass-through entities, are a final trouble area for clubs. So the thing here is that you want to stick with something that is very easy, right? Just stick with common stocks. One thing you also want to do is to rotate positions and stock watching responsibilities among club members. So the thing here is that you don't want to get into a position where people are complicit, because complacency has a tendency to setting at stock investment clubs when the same person is president year after year after year. So you want to switch things around. You also have to think about setting written guidelines for buying or selling investment decisions. So buy or sell investment decisions have to be written, the guidelines that is, so that you can avoid having a mismatch in philosophies among members, especially when you're trying to make investments on very, very important securities. So you want to create a document that details the types of stocks the club is seeking, and the document can include general requirement, how many years of financial data needs to be available, whether the company has recorded any earnings, or the company's minimum size, for example. And you also want to include details regarding the potential holding period. So is the club looking at a stock's initial investments as for with the potential of 5 years, 5 months, 5 minutes. It really depends. You also want to challenge holdings as a regular part of your meeting agenda. So portfolio management should be a constant activity, even for clubs interested in holding stocks for the long run. So companies typically report earnings every quarter, right? So this should trigger at least a quick study and discussion when clubs meet. So you want to make sure at this moment to include stock discussions on the meeting agenda. Also, maintain a watch list of stocks that the club can refer to when making investment decisions regarding a current holding. Although many clubs want to hold stocks for the long term, you have to understand though, that doesn't mean forever. And one of the reasons for selling a stock is that the club has a better use for the funds. And the last thing you want to pay attention to, and this is very important, we've seen this all across America doing our research for this show. Make room for fun at club meetings. This should not, don't make this like a PhD class where people just have they come and just study charts and do fundamental analysis on stocks and bonds. You want to make room for fun. Although investment clubs need to follow a partnership agreement, have a meeting agenda, make serious financial decisions regarding their pooled money, and conduct efficient meetings, it's okay to have fun too. So you want to include in the agenda, you want to have some holiday parties, you want to take trips, center meetings around, you can center meetings around a meal, and you can find ways to enjoy them yourselves and develop camaraderie. This is what's going to make the club resist in the future, in the long run. All right. Thank you so much for listening to this conversation. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.